Would you like to know more about the Disco Yeti? That's right, the Disco Yeti. Learn about him and other things on today's episode of Annual Pass. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Annual Pass. This is the podcast where we talk about all things theme park, shows, rides, attractions, snacks, foods, you name it. If it's in a theme park, we're going to talk about it. I am your host, Jack Pattillo, and of course, joining me, as always, is my lovely, beautiful, and talented co-host, Geoff Ramsey. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, Jack. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It was last night was a great night. It was Survivor and Temptation Island, so I couldn't have asked for more.
Nice, nice. How's the new season of Survivor going for you?
It's fantastic. It's already shaping up to be one of the most interesting seasons ever.
What? They're looking
way better than last
40
season.
40 or 50 of that
42.
shit? Wow. That's the meaning of life.
Way better than last season.
Man, Jeff, we have a fun day planned today. This is year 2 of Annual Pass, by the way.
Congratulations. You look different. You look older.
Thank you very much. I've been working on my age.
You're definitely crotchetier.
That is true. That is true. We got a fun one today, Jeff. We're talking about a roller coaster at Disney World. We're talking about Expedition Everest today, Jeff.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of Expedition Everest?
I don't think so, no.
No. Okay, so what do you think Expedition Everest is? Like, give me a general idea of what you think Expedition Everest is.
Well, I imagine it's a roller coaster themed around people climbing Mount Everest.
Kind of close. I mean, Everest is part of it, actually, but we'll get into it. We'll dive into it here just a little bit. I want to thank you for listening to Annual Pass. You guys are the best ever. Thank you for leaving all those beautiful reviews and all the comments over at Rooster Teeth. Don't forget to watch us as well on youtube.com/annualpass. That's where you can see our beautiful faces. Well, Jeff's beautiful face and me. And also join our Discord as well. We're over there talking theme parks, or at least I am. Jeff, you still haven't joined the Discord yet.
What?
Exactly. So that's also where
I'm old, dude. Discord,
so
that's
am I.
a
You're not that
young
much older than
game.
me.
I'm a lot older than you, Jack.
I don't know about that. I think percentage-wise.
Years and mind.
No, that might be true. Don't forget to join our Discord channel as well. You can join the Rope Drop Running Club.
RDRC.
Kicking butt over there. What time, or what day is this? This is April 28th when this episode is coming out. So hopefully by now, we're pre-recording some of this. Hopefully by now I am registered for the marathon weekend.
Have you begun training for it yet?
I'm actually I'm sort of taking a break of training right now, and I'm really going to dive in hard very, very soon. I think once I sign up for Dopey, which is the all 4 races, that's when it's going to get real, and then I'm going to be like, let's get it. So maybe by the time you're listening to this, I'm back on it and doing like 3 to 4 days a week of running, but right now I'm kind of taking it easy.
I assume you're running early in the morning because it's probably hot as hell.
Yeah. Go run early in the morning, go home, take a shower, then go to work. So that's the way to do it. Is that when you go running? Is early in the morning?
I ride my bicycle in the morning. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't run.
No. Where do you still just ride your bike?
I'm
around
not in a horror movie. There's nobody chasing me. I'm good.
Well, you can get on a bike in a horror movie and go away from a bad guy.
How often do you see somebody trying to run away from Freddy Krueger or Jason or Michael Myers on a bicycle?
That's true.
Not enough.
I'll
tell you that. You know why? Because they'd get away.
Yeah, and you can't take a bike upstairs.
Can't have a horror movie if there's nobody to kill.
That is true. That's lots of bodies in horror movies. So anyway, Jeff, let's dive into it. Oh yeah, don't forget to also grab some merchandise at the store.roosterteeth.com. That's the one last thing I forgot to mention. We have our awesome starter kit pin set. We are working right now on some we're working on some postcards as well because we announced a couple weeks ago that we're looking for you to mail us postcards that we can put up on our wall whenever we get a wall behind us. And hopefully we'll get out of this temporary space pretty soon into a new temporary space, out of the frying pan and into the oven. What is it? What's the word?
Out of the frying pan and into the fryer.
That's it. Yeah. So hopefully we'll do that. We'll go from temp space to temp space, and eventually we'll land in a final home. But until then, we're up for adoption. So Jeff, let's talk about Expedition Everest. This is a roller coaster attraction at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Opened up in let's see here. It was.
What is Disney's? Is that their like Safari Land or something? Where you like
Animal Kingdom it's not a zoo, which was the promotional material for it. Said it was not a zoo. There are animals in it. Obviously, they have like the Kilimanjaro safaris. They have like a bunch of exhibits throughout the park, but it's a mixture of kind of Disney theming along with kind of your traditional zoo look, where they have a lot of cool animals to look at and whatnot, and a lot of educational stuff, which is Disney is really good about, but also the magic of Disney and the theming. And then we talked about this the second time we've talked about Animal Kingdom. The first time we talked about Dinosaur. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
How much do you like Animal Kingdom?
It's okay. Of the 4 is probably on the lowest of the 4 parks.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it'd be Hollywood Studios, and then probably Epcot, then Magic Kingdom, and then Animal Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom is 3rd on the list.
Well, okay, I'll say right now, Epcot is probably 3rd, maybe even 4th, because Epcot is in a state of flux and they're rebuilding everything. But yeah, Magic Kingdom is that's classic. There's a lot of good stuff there, but I feel like I enjoy myself more at Epcot, a little bit more relaxed. And then Animal Kingdom is just, there's still, even to this day, there's not as many attractions there as I would personally like.
Well, they have Expedition Everest.
They do, and they also have all the Avatar stuff, which...
Oh, is that where that is?
Mm-hmm, the floating mountains.
It's
the theming, the scenery of that's all really cool. The whole like Pandora area of Animal Kingdom is great. I'm not a big fan of the big major ride there, Flight of Passage. It's a motion sim. It's like a big screen. You wear 3D goggles. I'm not super into it. It's not my jam.
You said motion sim. That scares me.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like I'm trying to think of what you've ridden. It is a motion simulator, but it doesn't like rock you around so much.
Not like that god awful Harry Potter thing that tried to
No,
kill you?
not like that. It's more like the Simpsons ride than it is anything else.
All right, yeah.
So you sit on the back of a flying creature thing, and then you plug your hair into it, and then you watch a 3D. It's we'll go on it someday. You and I will go on it someday.
Aren't they called Banshees?
Yeah, it's a Banshee.
Yeah, I remember everything in Avatar was also in Halo. Yeah, they were like all the names were the same. It was confusing. Yeah, okay.
And so yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that one in the future. I know a lot of people people love that attraction. They say it's the best thing ever. And for me, it was just like, this is a CGI 3D show.
Would you consider yourself to be a big Avatar fan?
No.
Did you like or dislike the movie? Or
it was okay. I don't think it was. I don't think it should have been the highest grossing movie of all time.
What? Give me a out of 100.
Out of 100 for Avatar the movie or the ride?
Avatar the movie.
The movie, I would probably give it like a solid 70, 75.
75 out of 100. And then what would you give the ride?
I'd probably like a 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you give Expedition Antarctica or what?
Expedition Everest? Probably like your high 80s. Like,
okay.
It's a good attraction.
Okay.
It's a good roller coaster.
Gotcha.
Again, that's me. I'm not a big fan of screens, and that's it. I also one of my big things with 3D shows is I wear glasses, so you always have to put as a matter of fact, you have to put glasses over glasses, and that's always a huge pain. And especially on something like this that kind of moves you around a little bit, I kept feeling like my glasses were gonna fall off. So yeah. We'll get into that in a future episode, Jeff.
I think that's probably necessary because, as I understand it, the gravity on Pandora works differently than the gravity on Earth. So
that's true. I think it was a little bit less, right? It was not the whole thing.
You can't. It's harder for us to have the floating rocks without the goggles.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about Expedition Everest today, Jeff. Expedition Everest. This attraction was announced publicly on April 22nd, 2003. Do you know why that date is important?
April 22nd,
2003.
2003. That is 4/22.
Not exactly. Disney's Animal Kingdom opened April 22nd, 1998. So the 5th anniversary of Animal Kingdom, they announced a new attraction for it. So they announced Expedition Everest because when Animal Kingdom opened, had a nice big flood of people coming in, and then the numbers started declining. And they were like, we got to put something in here. We got to do something new. So let's add a big thrill attraction to it. So they decided to add Expedition Everest, Jeff. This is from Disney, from their website.
Okay.
Yeti or not, here he comes. I love this stuff. Wander into a Tibetan village at the base of Mount Everest and board a train to the top of the world. Beware, some say a legendary snow monster lives deep in the mountain. After a steep ascent, your train picks up speed and races into the darkness. Without warning, a broken and twisted track appears in front of you. Brace yourself as you plummet backwards into total darkness. Inside the cavern, the mythical tale comes true as you see the shadow of a massive, growling beast. Race to escape the cursed mountain before the Yeti claims another expedition.
You go backwards in the dark?
You do.
That sounds cool.
It's pretty cool. It's a pretty neat attraction. The attraction was announced publicly April 22nd, 2003 during an event to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Construction of the new attraction began a month before the announcement in March of 2003. It took 3 years and required more than 36 miles of rebar, 5,000 tons of structural steel. Remember, we figured out how much that cost. We could probably get that pretty cheap.
It's very cheap.
And 10,000 tons of concrete. Expedition Everest opened for previews on January 26, 2006. 1996 and had its grand opening on April 7th, 2006. So, this is a really, really cool attraction. If you walk into the park, so you walk into Animal Kingdom, you go forward, you see the big tree of life. That's the icon of the park. You've probably seen images of it. It's an enormous tree.
Is it a Avatar tree of life? Or?
No. It's
because they have a tree of life.
They do. Well, they did. It got shot down, didn't it?
Yeah.
And no, this one, it's a really neat tree. It's a fake tree, obviously, but the base of it and the actual tree itself is made up of like animals. Oh. And so it's all sculpted in. It's really, really pretty. And when the light hits it, it looks like the whole thing's moving. It's nice.
Is it a thing where you can kind of see it from anywhere in the park?
Not everywhere in the park. This park, more than other parks, is very good about making you feel isolated and making you feel like you're surrounded by whatever area you're in. So it's separated by different lands. So like there's a whole Africa area where the Kilimanjaro Safaris is, and when you get there, it feels like you're there. When you go to Pandora, it feels like you're in Pandora, and it's really good about kind of making you feel separate. So, So anyway, let's see here. The track again is 3,884 feet long.
Almost a mile.
A little less than a mile. Almost 1,200 meters.
80% of a mile.
And also the lift hill is about 118 feet high. So it's not really a clicky track, but it definitely pulls you up. It's not that kick, but it definitely lifts you up a hill to get started. The whole ride lasts about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And when they were designing this thing, Joe Rohde, who is a very, very famous Imagineer, he was sort of the hand behind Animal Kingdom. He worked on tons of stuff throughout his career at Disney, but Animal Kingdom was kind of his baby. Yeah. Like when people think Animal Kingdom, think Imagineers, they think him. Whereas Tony Baxter was a big Magic Kingdom guy. And Joe Rohde, really, really awesome dude. He's no longer with Disney, and this was kind of his way to bring more people to Animal Kingdom and really get them excited for it. Again, this was made back in the early 2000s, and when they were designing this coaster, they actually came up with about 24 different designs of what they wanted to do, and for the first time ever, they were able to use a computer to sort of design the ride before they built the thing. So instead of being like kind of trial and error, they actually built the thing like sort of virtually and were able to kind of get an idea of what it would be like. I'm sure it's been used in other places before, but this is one of the first times they used it a whole lot. It is also the tallest attraction at Walt Disney World in Florida. It is 199.5 feet tall.
Wow, that's pretty high.
And it beats the Tower of Terror by 6 inches. Do you know why it is 199.5 feet tall, Jeff?
Because that's how tall Mount Everest is.
No.
Which is weird because people make such a big deal out of climbing it.
No. At 200 feet, you have to put one of those glowing red lights on it for planes. So, Disney does everything in their power to get right underneath that height limit because they don't have to add a flashing red light to the top of their tower, the top of their mountain.
Makes sense.
Because that would destroy
break the immersion. Yeah.
There has been one time that Disney has crossed that 200 feet mark was back in 2000. They did a whole celebration thing where they added some icons to the park. Epcot got a giant hand with a magic wand over it, like over the big ball. And it said
the murder ball?
Yeah, the murder ball.
Yeah.
It says 2000 on it. And it's like a big wand. It says 2000 to celebrate the year 2000. Like Disney MGM Studios got the big sorcerer's hat in front of Disney, in front of the Chinese theater. But the hand over the Epcot ball was actually, it crossed that 200-foot mark. So what they did was at the top of the wand doing a little it was doing like a little sparkle thing at the end of it. They added this red sparkle thing, and at the very top was the red flashing light.
Smart.
And they added other red lights to it too to make it look like, oh, it's just all part of it.
It's all part of the thing.
But they masked it behind there. Ultimately, they got rid of the hand, thankfully, because that thing was grotesque.
Really?
It was. I mean, it is like the Epcot sphere is such a iconic look. And to add suddenly this giant hand over it, it just looked not great. Let me see if I can find this thing here.
It.
Yeah, here it is. So eventually, after 2000, they changed it where it said Epcot instead of the thing. So, but yeah, it's just this big Mickey sorcerer hand over it, and you can see all the little red lights or like the little sparkles coming off the star.
I don't hate that.
Really?
Yeah.
It
looks festive.
But the icon, the Epcot, the geosphere of Epcot is so like iconic that why would you throw a giant just like cartoon hand over it?
As we've discussed many times in the past when we went back and we talked about that sphere and where it originally came from and how it was a part of trying to turn Epcot into a horror park, and that was from that 70s horror movie Phantasm. I feel like this softens it and makes it a little more family friendly. It continues along the line of like de-horror movieing Epcot.
Well, it's true. All the kids who go to Epcot immediately think of Phantasm, that movie from the 70s.
I know, to do with the scary
like,
white hair.
Mommy, no Phantasm. So they did that. There was a lot of celebration stuff around 2000, adding the giant Sorcerer Mickey hat to Disney MGM Studios, which I had issues with because I love the look of the Chinese theater in the background, and they put a giant hat in front of it. So
Jack doesn't like change.
I mean, like,
he's not a big fan of change.
Iconic change is okay, like, but I mean, why alter what people know your park as? It makes no sense at all. Anyway,
if we didn't alter parks, we would never get things like Fast and the Furious turbocharged, supercharged, whatever.
I think you're arguing against yourself at that point with that argument. Also, part of this attraction, Geoff, is the largest animatronic on the planet ever, with more articulation, more movement than any other audio animatronic at the time. It may be past.
The Yeti.
That is the Yeti.
And I feel like we've talked about this Yeti before.
Probably. He's probably brought up. If you've ever heard if you've ever heard the term Disco Yeti, yeah, that's what this attraction is. So it's a whole thing where they built this giant animatronic Yeti, because the idea was at the end of the ride there was going to be a Yeti holding on to like a post, and he reaches out at you. He like has this giant long arm. The Yeti itself is 25 feet tall. Its skin, so they actually put skin on it, measures 1,000 square feet, and it's held in place by 1,000 snaps and 250 zippers. The skin is.
Can you imagine the size of the loofah that thing must use in the shower?
How much water is that thing use?
Massive.
Its movement is controlled by 19 actuators. When functioning in A mode, its full mode of operation, it can move 5 feet horizontally and 18 inches vertically. Apparently, the Yeti's roars are provided by voice actor Fred Tatasciore, famous for his work as the Hulk in numerous animated shows and films.
So Yeti can dunk.
Wikipedia. Yeah, Yeti is.
He's got decent vertical.
He's good. He'd dunk on the Rock and Jock 50-point goal if he wanted to. He's a big guy. And so the Yeti was very, very huge, very massive, and very quickly disabled.
Really? Too scary?
No. So when they were building the attraction, they essentially built 3 different things. They built the tower, they built the roller coaster, then they built the tower to put the Yeti on, and then they built the mountain. And so it's 3 separate structures. The Yeti, when it was moving, well, this is kind of later on the show, but with the Yeti, when it was in full motion, it was so violent. It moved around so quickly that it actually cracked its base. So the base that it stood on, it would shake it and actually crack the base. Supposedly, no one's 100% positive on this. If you're a pass holder and you know the full story, let us know. Or if you're Joe Rohde, let us know. Love to talk to you. But it actually cracked the base that the Yeti was on, and in lieu, they stopped the Yeti from moving in lieu of having a catastrophic failure. Literally, the term catastrophic failure of the attraction, because. And then there's a lot of rumors of why they haven't fixed it, why it's always... So what they did, instead of having the big animatronic mode, they put it in B mode, which they just have strobe lights flashing on it and like wind and stuff to make it feel like it's moving, but it's not actually physically moving. It only lasted like a few months. It only lasted like maybe six months to a year before they had to shut it down.
Did you ever experience it in A mode?
I never did. I never did. I've only seen Disco Yeti. And so the rumor is, because of how significant the crack is, in order to actually fix the whole thing, they would have to essentially dismantle the mountain to get to it, because it's so big and the mountain is like sitting right on top of it. There's not a lot of room, that they would have to essentially disassemble the ride to fix that one thing. And so it's never been financially feasible.
That sounds like something my dad would have fixed with Bondo. He would have just crawled in there and been like, "Nah, I got this.
Yeah, just
spackle this up.
Yeah, just get some duct tape. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
So Joe Rohde, over time, like at the D23 Expo, he actually came out and said he wanted to fix the Yeti. Like apparently, like 2013, he's like, "We're gonna fix him at some point." And then someone asked him a couple of years later on Twitter, and like, "Hey, you mentioned this years ago." He's like, "Nope, still working on it." And then he retired. So as far as anyone knows, the Yeti has not been really touched or even thought about. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, not worth it.
He was like, "Look over there."
Yeah, as a matter of fact, while we're recording this, Expedition Everest is currently down for refurbishment, but they've never taken like a real proper refurbishment for the ride. They've never shut it down for like a really, really long period of time. Like right now, the Revenge of the Mummy out in Universal Orlando, Universal Studios, is shut down because they're replacing a whole bunch of stuff. They're doing massive refurbs on it. It's going to be down for like half a year. never really done that with Expedition Everest before.
Do
So
you know how long it's going to be down this time?
I think it should be back up within a few months. Like it's only down for like maybe 2 or 3 months.
So it's not,
It's not a massive refurb. This is kind of like all right, let's maybe repaint some stuff. Let's make sure that
spit and polish.
Yeah, like check all the, they go through, check all the bolts on the attraction and stuff. But for the most part, it's not really not too elaborate. But Geoff, should we go ahead right now and you can join me in the Himalayas and go and ride on Expedition Everest?
Am I going to be seeing the A Yeti or the B Yeti?
I don't know what version of this video that I'm watching.
I'm ready. I just want to prepare myself if it's going to be, if my foundation's about to be cracked.
We're watching a video from Coaster Force. Shout out to you, Coaster Force, the YouTube channel. So, Geoff, here we go. All right, you ready?
2 minutes and 50-something seconds, right?
Yeah, it's
How many G's are we dealing with?
3, actually.
3 Gs.
3 Gs. I don't know what direction, though. So I just saw on Wikipedia it said 3 Gs. All right, here we go. Geoff! Geoff for Animal Kingdom!
Oh, my Lord, look at all there's a gazelle!
That's an emu, Geoff.
This is not a zoo!
It is not a zoo. You are correct. Geoff, we should go look at the eagles and stuff and the gorillas. The gorillas are so cool.
Real gorillas?
Yeah, real gorillas.
But not a zoo.
No, not a zoo, but they're in trees. It's really neat. And then we'll ride the Kilimanjaro safaris and see the cheetahs. I love the cheetahs. Cheetahs are my favorite animal of all time.
Still not a zoo.
No, not a zoo, Geoff. But hey, but before that, let's go back to the edge of the park and we'll go ride Expedition Everest. That sound fun?
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's do that. Okay, we'll go to the Asia part of the park and we're gonna go to Expedition Everest. Wow, Geoff, look at all the buildings themed. It's apparently this whole town was built around this mountain, this mystical mountain. But then a Yeti showed up and like scared it. They like tore up the tracks and everything, and they built a whole like city around this Yeti. And everything, and so there's like gift shops and whatnot. But Geoff, we're in the queue. Look, it's like a Yeti museum. Oh. Geoff, they have a big footprint. They have a footprint of the Yeti. It's so big.
How big would you say that is, Jack?
It's about maybe 2.5 feet in length, I guess. Which it makes sense. It's only 1 foot though. It's 1 foot, but it's 2.5 feet. That doesn't make sense.
But he is a 2-legged Yeti.
All right, Geoff. Well, let's get on the coaster. Or on the train. We're gonna take a train into the mountains.
Okay.
This is a roller coaster, Geoff. We're taking a train into the mountains. All right, Geoff. Here we go. All right, we're going out. Okay, so it's starting.
This looks like an old-timey train.
Oh yeah, it's an old-timey train. Okay, Geoff. Here we go. We're gonna go up. Oh, look! You can see the whole like city as we're going up the tower here. It's really
I
pretty.
can handle this height.
Look at this beautiful mountain. Okay, Geoff. All right, Geoff. Oh, we go. It's nice.
This is my speed
it's nice
of roller coaster.
and peaceful. Well, it's just a little slow. We got to pick up some speed.
This is fast enough.
All right, here we go, Geoff. Whoa. Okay, we're moving a little quickly. Yeah.
Hey, slow it down some. It was nice.
It's just over some nice hills and some beautiful trees. But Geoff, we gotta head into the mountain now, Geoff. We gotta get up in this mountain.
Why?
Because that's where the Yeti is. We want to go see the Yeti. All right, let's go up. Oh, look. Okay, so now we're on the clicky hill.
I thought it wasn't a clicky hill.
Well, it's not clicking, but it's really smooth. Oh, look. Oh, you can see there's a warning there. It's the Yeti. Like they're saying the people who live here, like there's a Yeti. Be careful. Be careful. And it's like, no, we're not today, Geoff. We're not being careful. We're going to go into this mountain and we're going to find the Yeti.
Why didn't you tell me to bring a jacket? It's snowing up here.
It was the mountain, Geoff. You're supposed to. Okay, here we go, Geoff. Here we go. We're going to go down. You ready? Whee! Okay, back to the left. Okay, hands out. Whoa, it's so dark in here. Whee! We're going up. Okay, whoa. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Geoff.
Uh-oh.
Geoff, what happened to the track, Geoff?
What the heck?
I don't know. The track's broken. Something must have twisted up the track.
Shut it down!
No, Geoff. Where are we gonna go? There's only one way we can go, Geoff. We can't go forward because the track's broken. Do you know which way we should go?
Up.
No, we can't. We're gonna go backwards. Oh, Geoff, we're going backwards. Oh no, we're into the tunnel. We're into the creepy. It's so dark in here, Geoff. Do you hear that? It's a roar. Those roar of the Yeti, Geoff. It's so scary that the Yeti's like roar, 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 and we're like, no, no, Mr. Yeti. That's scary. We're still going backwards, Geoff.
How fast would you say we're going right now?
I don't know. Maybe 3 years. Oh, Geoff, look! It's the Yeti.
Oh my Lord!
We see him, and he's behind us, and he's screaming. It's a silhouette. He's gonna tear up the track, Geoff.
He's definitely in A mode.
No, well, that's not good. He's torn up the track, Geoff. We gotta get out of here. We gotta run, Geoff. Here we go. Let's go forward this time instead of backwards.
Didn't we just go this way?
Well, no. I mean, we came backwards through this way. We gotta go forwards through this way. Here we go, Geoff. We gotta run from the Yeti. Okay, here we go. Whoa, there's a big drop. Whee!
Just let me out right here at that house.
We're going so fast. We're whipping around. Oh, we're in a cave, Geoff.
Oh, this is very dark and scary.
Oh, it's so dark and scary. Whee! Okay, we're outside again.
I'm shaking.
We're moving all around this mountain, Geoff. There's so many holes in this mountain. Whee!
Yeah.
Oh, we went into the track. That's scary. You almost hit your hands, Geoff. Be careful. Whee! Okay. Oh, Geoff, we're going back inside. Geoff, Jeff, what's that noise? Oh no, Jeff!
I don't know. What is it?
It's so scary, it's so loud! Oh, it's the Disco Yeti! Oh, run! Okay, we're out, we're past them. Oh, okay, we made it out. Jeff, we survived it.
Yeah.
We had our expedition to Everest, and we survived it. We survived the Disco Yeti.
I never saw him.
You never saw him? You had to look up and to the right. It was tough to see. We were moving very quickly. Oh, Jeff, we're out. All right, Jeff, let's go to the gift shop and buy one of the I Survived the Disco Yeti mugs or something.
Okay.
We did it! Yay! So that's the attraction. That is Expedition Everest. It was the very first ever. I got some fun facts for you here.
Okay, yeah.
It was the very first backwards and forward coaster for Disney. So it was the first time ever they had a coaster that would start forward, go backwards, and then go forward again. Also, one fun fact too. When you get to the top where the track is all broken and before you go backwards, for some reason, someone started throwing their hair ties like next to the track. So it is littered with hair ties where people would pull their hair ties off and throw them out. Don't know why, but there's hair ties all over Expedition Everest.
And they don't warn you when you like stop with the hair ties.
I guess not. I guess they kind of like, oh, I guess it's sort of a thing. So I don't know if that maybe have something to do with like actual like mountain climbing or
maybe it's an offering to the Yeti.
Perhaps.
What we should do, Jack, is we should bring hair ties. So that we can
just
get
hundreds
in on
of them. Just dunk them off.
Get in on the action.
There we go. We'll bring some hair ties whenever we go and ride this thing. The artificial mountain that you see, like the actual, it's like a 3-peaked mountain at Expedition Everest. The actual mountain itself is fictional. It's the Forbidden Mountain is what they call it. That's the one guarded by the Yeti. And the actual Everest peak is the smallest one of the 3 peaks you see. It's a forced perspective thing where it's a forced perspective thing where it looks like it's further away. But that's actually the representation of Everest. So if you're looking at the attraction, there's 3 peaks, and the one on the far right is Expedition. That is Everest.
Gotcha.
So if everyone's like, oh, look, it's Everest. Like, well, actually, that one is Everest. So I didn't know that until I was doing some research on this thing. 2,000 gallons of paint were used to paint the mountain. That's a lot of paint. How heavy do you think that is?
Can you imagine how annoyed the Home Depot employee was when they came in and were like, I need 2,000 gallons of this color. And he's like, I got 1 paint shaker here.
Yeah, like, all right.
And they're like, well, we'll be. He's like, should I come back in 10 minutes? He's like, 10 minutes? 10 weeks? And they're like, all right. And then he just gets to going.
I love that. Yeah, I could totally see that guy. He's like, I'm not paid enough for this.
Yeah.
The attraction itself cost $100 million to build. Guinness recognized it as the most expensive roller coaster ever built at the time. $100 million for roller. That includes the whole kind of area, the attraction, the ride, like the shops and everything around it. But $100 million.
I could think of so many things to do with $100 million other than to make a roller coaster that cracked.
The Yeti cracked. A lot of the money went into that Yeti itself. That record was shattered in 2019. A roller coaster cost $300 million to make. And you've seen this roller coaster. What do you think that roller coaster is?
I think it was Velocicoaster or Hulk.
Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure.
You didn't let me finish. I was going to say, I think it was Velocicoaster or Hulk threatening but not ultimately being that expensive because Hagrid's took all the money.
Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure cost $300 million.
And I haven't been on that one yet.
You haven't yet.
Okay.
That's the one.
$300 million.
I think a lot of that has to do because there's a lot of animatronics in Hagrid's. That one goes forwards and backwards. There's a really cool surprise drop thing. There's a lot of neat stuff on that attraction.
$300 million is more than a lot of countries are worth.
Theme parks make a lot of money, Jeff. Theme parks make a lot of money. Bob Chapek is doing okay.
Can you imagine going to the bank and going like, I need a $300 million loan, and they're like, and I'm going to pay it back 1 ticket sale at a time.
But then you look up and there's literally tens of thousands of people at over $100 a head. It's wild.
That's crazy. I wonder how long it takes them. I'd love to see the amortization on that and how long it takes them to make their money back.
Yeah,
I mean, that's got to be very complicated math, right? Because nobody's going like you. I don't even know how. Well, yeah.
I mean, think about the overhead as far as employees go. Like I remember when I worked at Disney, I think it was 50,000 employees were for working at Walt Disney World, which I think is the largest single location of a business on the planet. Like it was more employees working in one space than anywhere else.
How many was it again?
It was like 50,000 employees.
That's more people than live in San Marcos, Texas.
That's true. That is true. That's more people that are. That's about my entire UT class. Like my entire class when I was going to college. Was there was like 50 to 55,000 students. Yeah, just because you think about it, like think of all the sheer number of people that work, like, an attraction like Expedition Everest, you're going to have probably 15 people working the attraction because you've got different locations they have to work. Then you have the engineers that support it. Then you have the maintenance people that come in and, make sure the place is clean. You have people working gift shops. You have managers running everything. There's just, it boggles the mind of how many hands and how many gears go into making a theme park like this work, and it's fascinating to me, and that's one of the reasons why as an adult I've come to appreciate this stuff, because theme parks really are living art. I mean, the stuff that happens in theme parks is incredible, and the way they can transport you and make you feel like you're in a different place, all at the same time being this well-oiled machine where it's like, hey, do you want to buy a candy bar while you're here? We can make that happen. It's crazy and so cool and so interesting to me.
I would love to talk to an accountant who has worked at a theme park on that scale, because the I'm not a math guy, but the complicated math that goes into, because like even at Rooster Teeth, we know how much we have accountants,
yes,
right, and very smart finance people who are like, one customer is worth this much over the lifetime of their Rooster Teeth fandom or support, and like we know how much we have an average for how much a person's going to spend in the store on one transaction, et cetera. And I would love to just see all right, it's $300 million that we're going to sink into this. What are the things that we need to do and adjust and move around to approach profitability on that faster? How long are we prepared to take a hit? Are they taking a hit, or is that like money in the bank that they've got in reserves to build?
Liquid, yeah.
Like is it all liquid? Is it profitable on day one? It'd be really interesting to hear.
I mean, even like that, like in my head, I'm thinking of something like Galaxy's Edge, where it's like, okay, we're going to build a Star Wars theme park, or a portion of a theme park based around Star Wars. Like, okay, jumping through hoops for licensing and then model building and characters and something like the size of that. And then you go to something like Epic Universe, which is an entire theme park building from the ground up. Like, how? Like, who does this stuff? And that's something I would love to talk with Greg Hall about. Like, Greg Hall is our friend over at Universal, Universal Creative, and it's like, that to me is just the most fascinating stuff. And that to me, honestly, is the stuff that he probably can't talk about.
No, I know, right? But that is it's kind of like when we talked to Kevin from Defunctland about line theory and how fascinating that was, right? It's a similar kind of thing. It's like, we had to raise the tickets by $8, and that covers Star Wars. That covers Galaxy's Edge, or like it's fascinating.
Yeah,
really interesting.
And I love that kind of stuff. And that, like,
we got to charge 25 cents more on Dole Whip, and that's how we're going to make our money back on the Yeti.
Yeah,
right.
And it is fascinating because like right now it feels like Disney's approaching it more as a business, whereas Universal's treating it a lot more creatively.
Yeah,
which in the past has been flipped. It used to be Disney was a number one. They were the show. They were all about the show. Certainly feels like lately they've been kind of nickel and diming people, and it's like, hey, now you can pay to ride a ride. And it's like, and they start, it's getting a little bit weird and a little bit funky over there. Whereas Universal's very much like, we want to make stuff that makes people happy.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that approach to it, and I'm leaning more towards Universal now. Anytime I go to Orlando, just because I love those parks, and it has that energy, kind of that early 2000s, late 90s Disney energy that I really, really love. So. What do you think about that? Let us know in the comments. I'm fascinated. This is the kind of conversation I love talking about, and I don't know if we could fill a whole episode talking about this kind of stuff, but man, I am really, really digging this.
Do you think we've been to Thorpe Park yet?
Maybe at this point. This is the 28th. When are we supposed to go to? We're supposed to go to London. We're
going to be there like the 23rd,
I think it might be like
to the 25th or something.
Okay, yeah. So
I think we're coming home the 25th.
Yeah, Ben's giving us a thumbs up. So I think the weekend prior to this, we may have actually been in London going to Thorpe Park, our very first European.
I wonder
theme
how
park.
that one felt. I wonder if it felt like Universal or like Disney
or like Six Flags
or like Six Flags.
Yeah, which is not a problem. Like every park has its own
vibe.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll do an episode on Thorpe Park if we did manage to get out to it and some of the attractions there. There's a theme park in Oslo that I wanted to go to. I walked past. Oslo. That's
Norway.
Wait, not Norway. Where's ABBA from? Are they from Norway?
ABBA's from Sweden.
Okay, it was Sweden then. It was what's the big city in Sweden? I don't know. Anyway, there's a theme park in Sweden that I walked past that was shut down. that I want to go by. It was right next to the ABBA Museum.
We're Ben's about to talk.
List of urban areas in Sweden by population. Stockholm?
Stockholm.
Okay.
It was in Stockholm.
I've heard Stockholm is a lovely but kind of boring city.
It's very cold. Very old and interesting. I enjoyed it. I was there. Actually, I visited a video game company. They brought me out to check out a game, and they have a museum there where they have a giant ship, like a wooden ship that was built. The king of Stockholm, or like someone from Stockholm built this enormous ship. Turns out it was too tall, and they set it out into like the bay, and it immediately sank. And it was this elaborate, like, this big fancy thing, and it sank and went to the bottom, and, like, a bunch of people died back in, like, the 1600s.
Oh, that part's not funny.
Yeah, it was, like, back in, like, the 1600s or something.
Yeah.
And then they discovered it and actually brought it up and have been restoring it. They built a museum around it.
That's very cool.
It's amazing. Super, super cool. Odd story, I was there in that museum when the trailer for Endgame came out, Avengers Endgame, and I watched it on a phone.
So, Ben, can you see what theme park is in Stockholm?
Next to the ABBA Museum. Just search for ABBA Museum, and then you can see next to it on Google Maps.
The reason I say I hear it's boring is just from somebody, an American who lived there, and I guess it's just like it's a lot of government, and government shuts down, and the city kind of becomes like a ghost town when government's not in session.
I mean, when I was there, it was pretty cool. It was like around Christmas time, and so they had like they had a Christmas market. And,
I bet the Christmas.
Yeah, it was neat.
I would have you. Every place outside of America has amazing Christmas markets. I went to the Christmas market in Budapest one time. It was maybe the coolest place I've ever been.
I went to one up in Edinburgh one time, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was so cool. Okay, Ben, what do we got?
So I am so sorry if I butcher this pronunciation for any of our
I
Swedish
apologize.
listeners. Grona Lund is the theme park that's in Stockholm. Looks cool.
That sounds cool.
So
let's go to hashtag get annual pass to Gronalund.
Gronalund. We'll get to Japan first, and then we'll go to Gronalund, and then I'll take you over to...
We'll swing by on the way home.
God, what was it? Not Nava Museum. I forget the boat museums. Right? There's a bunch of museums, and then we go to the ABBA Museum.
I wonder if we've got any postcards yet.
Ooh, that's true.
I wonder if we have one from the ABBA Museum.
From Gronalund or the ABBA Museum.
If you want to send us, I know we talked about theme parks, but if you want to send us a postcard from the ABBA Museum, we will also take that and respond in kind.
Yes,
big ABBA fans.
Big ABBA fans.
Gus and I especially, huge ABBA fans.
Katie's a huge ABBA fan.
Yeah.
I have like 4 ABBA albums that I'll drop on every now and then. It's
awesome.
such a happy music. I love it.
Great music.
Well, Jeff, that's going to wrap it up for Expedition Everest. Let's get into some Q&A here. This is from the Fast and Furious episode, Supercharged episode. You got a question?
I was just going to say, Jack.
If you
I just want to say thanks for taking a chance on me.
Take a chance on me. If you have a postcard you want to send us, Jeff brought it up. You can send it to Annual Pass, care of Rooster Teeth Productions, 1901 East 51st Street, Austin, Texas 78723. And just make sure if you put a return address on there, we'll mail a postcard back to you.
And we'll send you 2 postcards if your name is Fernando.
Fernando. All right, let's do some Q&A. This is from the Fast and the Furious Supercharged episode. Billy Z90 says, today I learned that HaHa Clinton Dix is a real name and not one made up by Key and Peele.
HaHa Clinton Dix played for Alabama.
He did. Well, he went to that school. He went to the school behind Universal Studios where we got talking.
We were talking about
I want to say Jordan Palmer, but that's not right. Whatever the name of the school is, like he went there because there was a few famous, like Wayne Brady was from there.
I actually have his autograph.
Really?
Yeah, I have one of his college cards autographed.
Nice. Razzler 1770 says, Jack not knowing that it was Minas Tirith and Denethor who set himself on fire and then combined the scenes with King Theoden and Wormtongue with that scene of Denethor just threw me for a total loop.
I was gonna get into that with you, but then I figured, what's the point?
Oh yeah, it was. I couldn't. I knew the pieces of it. I just couldn't get them in the right order and places. And
you were close.
And I didn't know the pieces. Scoob Drew says, what would you say was the greatest above and beyond moment that you've seen a cast member do at a park? I think we've answered this before, but this is a good story. I have a daughter with spina bifida, and for long distances, like at theme parks, we use a wheelchair. At all the Disney World parks, the cast members were incredible. They never missed a beat when it came to getting my daughter onto rides, and they would make sure her wheelchair was right next to where we were getting off. It still brings tears to my eyes when I think about how much they did to make sure she had the best experience ever.
That is
I love hearing
fantastic.
Stories like that. Like
awesome.
We've answered that question before. I got talked about King Louie rolling around and stuff. But like that kind of stuff, that makes me so happy. And that makes me have faith in humanity. It's like a lot of people, kind of like whatever, deal with it. But it's like, no, we're going to go out of our way to make sure you're happy and your daughter has a good time. And I love that.
You know what? I think that's a really salient point to make, especially in a time like right now when things are so divisive,
Yeah.
for a myriad of reasons, and not just in America but globally, places like theme parks where you can see some genuine humanity and brotherhood and people helping each other out. We need more of that.
Yeah. I've never seen anywhere where more people, like, if they spot trash on the ground, will just pick it up and throw it away. Like, not their trash, just pick it up and toss it. Like, whatever. Like, seeing stuff like minor little things like that. People opening doors for other people. Stuff where it's like, to me, it feels like common sense, but you don't see it that often. But at theme parks, it feels like people kind of like they enjoy themselves and they have a good time. They feel like a better version of themselves sometimes. I mean, not everybody, I'll say. As
an aside, you know what I've been doing lately? I try to do about once every 2 weeks. I'd like to do it once a week, but I'm only doing it about once every 2 weeks.
Opening doors for your girlfriend?
No. I mean, yeah, sure. I'll do that too. But I bought one of those trash grabber.
Little grabby things.
And I go on Saturday or Sunday mornings when I get up early, I'll go to the park near my house and I pick up trash for an hour. And it makes me feel real good.
And then you get a little exercise too.
Get a little exercise, listen to a podcast while you're doing it. Gorgeous weather before it gets too brutally hot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That's cool.
Not enough people pick up trash in the world.
Very, very kind of you. Yes, if you see a piece of trash in the ground, just grab it and throw it in a trash can. Especially at Disney, there's always a trash can within like 15 feet of you. So, all right. So now we asked a question of you, the pass holders, and then you answer it, and then I will randomly pick someone in our comments to mail an autographed theme park map. And so this week we're doing the Supercharged episode, Fast and Furious Supercharged. And I said, what is your least favorite attraction you've ever been on? A lot of people, and I said, and not counting Supercharged. A lot of people said I can't not count Supercharged. So Creden's Justiam, I think is how you pronounce it. This is wild. Garfield's Nightmare at Kennywood Park. There's an attraction called Garfield's Nightmare, Jeff. It was, not sure if this is the correct term for the situation, a refurbishment of our Old Mill ride that occurred when they were trying to make Garfield a thing mascot-wise at the park. So Old Mill is like the water, like the log flumes. Spoilers, he never got fully accepted and quickly became an afterthought. It basically is sitting in a boat looking at the cheapest looking sets, walls splattered with neon glow-in-the-dark paint, and product placement. Pepsi, anyone? He wrote that in parentheses.
I do love Pepsi.
It was like a really bad acid trip, in my opinion. The plot of the ride was Garfield having a nightmare, getting eaten by a fish, scary dogs, giant shot that blew air at you and stopped working after a point. I know my friends and I ever went on it only as a means to get out of the sun quickly, but as it seemed like there was rarely a bad line for it. But we always regretted the decision. I kind of want to ride Garfield's Nightmare.
Dude, me too. We don't talk about it now because it's not as family friendly as this one, but my other podcast for a while was we considered ourselves a Garfield podcast.
Yeah.
So I would absolutely want to ride that.
What kind of podcast are you now?
We're a baseball podcast again.
You're back to a baseball podcast?
To a baseball
okay,
podcast
yeah.
right now.
You were an Apple podcast for a while.
We're a plastic. We're transitioning out of baseball at this point because I'm thinking ahead, and I think we're probably moving into a plastic cup podcast.
Oh, nice.
Really into plastic cups. Right
okay, sweet. Jay Sitko says, at Hershey Park, there is a newer indoor coaster called Laugh Track, LAFFTRAKK. It's extremely compact, in the dark except for black lights on reflective paint, and the car spins freely. Most nauseating coaster I've ever been on. That's interesting. It's funny. Glow in the dark. We got glow in the dark paint on. We're 2 of 2 for glow in the dark.
I wonder if anybody has did you ever watch Kimmy Schmidt?
Yes, I watched the first
season. You know her mom in Kimmy Schmidt. You probably didn't see this until season 2 or 3, but her mom was Lisa Kudrow.
Okay,
and she showed up in later 2 or 3, and she was obsessed with roller coasters, and she traveled around the world like riding roller coasters, kind of like you. She was kind of like a cartoon version of you, and it makes me wonder. I wonder if there's a person. Certainly, there is not a person on Earth who has ridden every roller coaster.
No,
but I wonder who has ridden the most.
There are roller coaster enthusiast websites that I'm sure people
track that.
Yeah, I'm sure they have logs of what they've done.
I would be interested. I'd be interested to talk to that person someday. Yeah. If we could find the person that's been in the most roller coasters or theme park attractions, I would love to speak to that person.
That'd be cool. We'll do that someday.
Yeah.
This one's from Texas, actually. Delivery McGee says the oil derrick at Six Flags Over Texas. Do you know the oil derrick? That's a giant tower. That's all it is. It's just a 300-foot tower, but as a kid, I was scared of heights, and the open railings certainly didn't help. I was still a bit nervous in fully enclosed towers like San Jacinto monuments, but wasn't clinging to the wall beside the elevator. It's weird. I'm fine with hypercoasters. Spent a whole day riding Titan when I lived in DFW and had a season pass. We talked about Titan.
Yeah.
But I get severe vertigo going anywhere near the second story railing and a Bass Pro store. And even on the second floor of an outdoor entry hotel, I hug the wall. That's more because most of them have a bit of a slope toward the outside to shed rain. Didn't make it to the Empire State Building when I visited NYC. I should have tried it. Yeah, so the oil derrick is just a giant oil derrick. It's literally like a big tower that you go stand and look at.
Is it just a tower that's called an oil derrick, or is it designed to be an oil derrick?
No, it doesn't look like an actual oil derrick.
And is it just an observation tower?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find a photo.
What's the highest observation tower you've ever been to?
You can see a tiny little photo there.
Okay,
It's a big tower. I've been in the tower in Seattle, the Space Needle.
How tall is Space Needle, Ben?
Ben, look up Space Needle height.
Well, we're going to need you to look at a few things.
Yep. Look up Space Needle height.
Then look up the Eiffel Tower as well.
I've been underneath the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is so much bigger than I ever expected it to be.
It's like 1,300 feet or 1,200 feet. I've been to the top of it. It's very...
Space Needle's height is 605 feet.
Okay.
The Eiffel Tower is 984.
All right, I've been to the top of that.
1,083 to the tip.
Wow.
Now look up the Tokyo... Is it called the Skytree?
Tokyo Skytree.
I've been to the top of that. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then the CN Tower in Toronto, right?
2,080 feet.
Yeah.
My gosh.
I think that might be the second tallest place you can travel, like you can visit like that. I think there might be one somewhere else over in
What's
Asia.
the Burj Khalifa? Is like 5,000 feet?
All right, Ben, go ahead.
Come on, Ben, if you look
up
up Burj Khalifa for us.
2,717.
So even higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's not maybe what I was thinking of then.
And there's Tom Cruise is sitting on the top of it.
Did you ever see the picture of Will Smith sitting on the top of it compared to Tom Cruise?
Will Smith is like just covered in safety gear.
Just regardless, still very cool to be at. Well, there's not enough money in the world to put me on the top of that thing, but I'll go inside it.
Yeah, you're not a big fan of heights. You suddenly became a anti-height fan.
I became scared of heights on a Rooster Teeth trip to England. Yeah, but I went to the top of the Tokyo Skytree with my daughter, and that was not scary at all. As a matter of fact, it was because you're inside.
That's true.
You're looking at glass. It was fantastic.
Speaking of scary, the reason I was distracted when you guys were throwing all those questions at me, it seems that Halloween Horror Nights has just tweeted out some kind of theme for Halloween Horror Nights this year.
So again, this is a month out of date, but what's the theme?
Never go alone.
Never go.
Jeff,
we got to go to Halloween Horror Nights together.
Not alone.
I don't know if this is a theme or what. They've just tweeted out a never go alone image. That seems to be pointing toward it's time to summon your Scream Squad.
Oh, Scream Squad!
I'm gonna make a proclamation.
Ooh, look at that! Oh, that looks scary.
I'm gonna say that it kind of has a Blair Witch feel to it.
Yeah, it does.
I'm gonna say that regardless of what happens with this podcast or my someday retirement, I would like to go to Halloween Horror Nights with you every year.
I'm 100%
Whether it's
down
for work or for fun.
100% down.
Such a lovely time.
I'll say this right now. It's April when we're doing this.
Yeah.
For Halloween Horror Nights this year, it's opening September 2nd. It's the earliest it's ever opened. It's going from September 2nd to October 31st. They just announced all this stuff like this morning.
Yeah.
We should go for at least 2 nights this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we should go one night and like hopefully do the RAP tour again where we can go to every house. But then we should go back and go and check out all the food and do a bunch of other stuff and maybe go to another haunted house again if we want to.
Do you think Katie would like that?
Maybe. I mean, she's not a big fan of like gore and stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Halloween Horror Nights is very
pretty scary.
Gore themey. Ben,
I think Emily
in the blue shirt, sir.
I still have that producer goal of trying to get you two on as scare actors at Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, I'd love to.
really
That's right.
like to make that happen.
That's true. Well,
I was gonna try to be. I was gonna try to be. What's her name in Beetlejuice?
Lydia.
Lydia. Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't think of her name.
All right, so here we go. So one last thing before we wrap up this episode. I think it ran a little bit long today. I wasn't expecting that. Zazzles for the win.
Zazzle?
Congratulations, Zazzle, for the win. I picked yours. My least favorite attraction would have to be Minion Mayhem at Universal Hollywood. The entire ride vehicle room just takes me out of the experience since you can see everything simply by looking a few inches anywhere. Also, pet peeve is during the intro video in the laboratory, Agnes's eyes aren't animated and they annoy me. Also, I'm not a fan of Illumination Entertainment. This person just doesn't like these things.
Did we do that?
We did.
Yeah, we did. I remember that.
Yeah, that was the daughters.
I think I remember it being okay.
That was fun. Yeah, that was a little bit calm
I don't think
for
I had
him.
the same issues with it. Respect their issues.
But hey, Zazzles, congratulations. I randomly picked these. So Zazzles, I'll reach out to you and get your email, and then I'll drop you a line, and we'll get you a park map signed by Jeff and I. But that will do it today, Jeff, for all the stuff I have written down. But yeah, Halloween Horror Nights, I'm excited for that. You know, Halloween Horror Nights, they typically do some kind of ARG as well.
Oh, really?
Where they like almost every year they've done like just kind of either smaller ones.
Did they do one last year?
I think they did. I don't know how big it gets, but that's something I would love to maybe like our Discord to work with, where we can hopefully figure this out. Back in 2000, 2002 or 5, or I think maybe 2005, when I was out in Florida, they had an ARG. It was super elaborate and included going to the parks to finding stuff.
I love bees.
Something like that. And it was where if you like, I think about 30 people found the end of the ARG. An ARG, for those of you who don't know, is an altered reality game where they take stuff in real life and they add a narrative to it, and it's just basically kind of like a scavenger hunt with a story. It's one of those things that you could completely miss and not really miss anything. Yeah. But if you dive into it, you can find some really cool information. They usually reward people for that. So this one, in 2005, whoever made it to the end, they basically said, come to this location at this time. And it was the opening night for Halloween Horror Nights. And they gave everyone that made it there a cloak, like a big cloak that covered their face. And they got to be part of like the opening show. So it was like all these people kind of dressed like monks walking in, covered up, and they were just like standing around being creepy. And those were all the people who had won the ARG. And that's so cool.
If you want to get me in the Discord server, start solving ARGs.
Okay.
I'll be there tomorrow.
All right, Ben, you have a question?
Just to update on that Halloween Horror Nights tweet, it looks like that is just a date announce. There might be something hidden in that image or something like that, but last year's tagline was also never go alone.
Oh.
So who knows? Maybe they're just trying to get the dates out there. Maybe there's something else going on.
Well, maybe it's the start of the ARG.
Maybe we'll take
Discord,
a look.
go.
See if there's any like stars or any letters underlined. Maybe we'll figure it out. So
our ARG solving group is called ARG RDRC. It's a subset.
I love it. Well, hey, speaking of Discord, make sure you join our Discord server. And now we got to start up a channel to solve the Halloween Horror Nights ARG, assuming there is one. Also, make sure to grab some merchandise in the store.roosterteeth.com. We have the pin set. Hopefully by now we also have, we were working on an anniversary pin as well. So I don't know if that's in the store yet. Hopefully it is. We also got some postcards coming very soon, and you can mail us a postcard from, obviously we want you to mail a theme park postcard. You could mail, if you buy the postcard, the annual pass postcards, you could mail them to us if you want, but I would rather get some cool, what was the park in Sweden? What was it? Aggro Crag?
It was Aggro Crag.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to mail us something from that, I'd like to see those. That'd be kind of cool. And we'll eventually build up the wall. What was it, Ben? Oh, I thought you were about to talk. I thought you leaned back like you're going to say something about Aggro Crag.
I was. All I was going to say was it would be remiss of me as a producer because I would never forget this. Have you asked the question of the week?
I did not. Whoo! Ben, you did it. You have achieved the producer credit. Yay. Geoff, I didn't write a question of the week. No, we haven't.
Do the one that I stole from. Remember, I stepped on one.
I was saving that one because I said I would do it the next week, so I said I would push it back. All right. Well, today's episode we talked about Expedition Everest. What is your very favorite mountain at a theme park? So, you've got Splash Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, Everest. What is your favorite mountain at any theme park on the planet? I want to know if it's Space Mountain, which Space Mountain? Because there's multiple Space Mountains. Yeah. So let me know in the comments over at roosterteeth.com. What is your favorite mountain? And then we will, and then I'll pick a winner. We'll randomly select someone. Whew, thank you, Ben. Ben was on top of that.
Nailed it.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, all the beautiful pass holders out there. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being on our Discord. Thanks for grabbing merchandise. Thank you for sending us postcards. And it's the best. Y'all are great. And don't forget to, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/annualpass. Hopefully by now we have some anniversary content up there as well. And
I hope so. Hopefully we're already putting puzzles together.
I think we're starting with the Lego.
Then we're going to talk about making our own annual pass puzzles and Legos.
It's going to be lots of fun. Yeah. So check out all that. We do appreciate you. Geoff, do you feel like you learned anything today?
I do. I learned about this really cool new ARG group called ARG RDRC that is on Discord that I'm going to join.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'm going to throw you an invite right now.
I also learned I learned a lot about the Yeti.
You did?
Yeah, I learned it has 3 Gs. So decent cell service, but not the best. You're not watching any videos on it, that's for sure. I learned that the base is cracked and it was going to be a catastrophic failure. They spent $100 million on a Yeti that worked for 4 months. That seems like a catastrophic failure to me, but I'm sure they made their money back instantly on funnel cakes and T-shirts.
Exactly. Absolutely. So that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for listening. You guys are absolutely the best. We love you. Thank you for listening. It's been over a year now, and I can't believe we've been doing this. It's so great. So love you guys. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.